3 more times over the next few hours. After the power came back on, I thought things had chilled out, but then when we got a tornado warning, I went and got the kids from upstairs and we all hung out in the study for about an hour until the warning passed. At this point, it was about 2 a.m. and I passed out in the guest bedroom. The parents woke me up when they got home at around 7 a.m. and I drove home past giant fallen branches and stalled abandoned cars. It was surreal, but thank God everyone was safe and well in the end. Hi, Let's Read. I'm a huge fan and I've always wanted to be able to send in a true scary story of my own, but I've never really had anything actually scary ever happen to me. Awkward moments, sure, people being outright mean, that too, but never anything legit scary. But all that changed just a few weeks ago before lockdown when I was asked to babysit a neighbor's kid while they went to a party relating to one of their jobs. I'd never, ever babysit for anyone before, so admittedly I was pretty nervous. But if I'd have known what kind of night I had in store for me, I'd have turned the job down in a second. It was made all the worse by the fact that my parents pretty much assured me that it would be an easy $50, and the night would be over before I knew it. I had a bad feeling about the whole thing from the start, but my dad actually managed to talk me out of that headspace. Now I wish I just trusted my gut and stayed well away. So I wandered over to the house at around 7 in the evening, introducing myself to the parents and the kid before they go over a few ground rules. At first, it seemed like my dad was right, that I was just being silly and that if I played my cards right, I could turn this into a regular earner to fund my weekend shopping habits. The parents were lovely and so was the kids, so I got pretty chill pretty quickly and ended up sort of enjoying myself, entertaining the kid after they left with the help of Disney Plus, which I'd be lying if I said I wasn't a huge fan of. Anyway, everything is going well until it comes time to put the kid to bed. Then things start getting a little awkward. The kid straight up refuses, and our new, happy little friendship starts to quickly deteriorate. I felt super mean having to lay down the law with the kid, and he went from crying and wailing to shouting and screaming at me that, like, I wasn't his mom. He hated me and I didn't belong there. Stuff like that. I actually kind of hurt, and I started to realize that maybe I wasn't ready for that kind of responsibility yet. To be a parent or a guardian, you need to be tough enough to be able to kind of like be the bad guy, if that makes any sense. And if there are any of you out there that are looking to get into babysitting, thinking it'll be an easy few bucks, please reconsider. I've done way easier things for money before and since. Things that don't make you feel terrible for having to have shouted at a kid. But after a while, the whole temper tantrum seems to have tired the kid out, and even though he still seemed upset with me, he went up to his room, got into his pajamas, climbed into bed to sleep. He asked me to read him a story, and since he'd actually done as he's told, I obliged. And when his eyes finally closed over and his breathing slowed, I snuck out of the room and downstairs to leave him get some rest. So about an hour or so later, I was sitting on the couch texting a friend of mine, telling them how babysitting was way harder than I thought it was going to be. I'm working through the leftover chicken pot pie that my mom had given me to take over there, catching up on some episodes of The Mandalorian when the family house phone starts to ring. Thinking it was the parents looking to check up on me, I pick up, greeting the caller with the cheeriest voice I could manage. Only, no one on the other end responds. I say, "Hello?" a few more times, assuming it's a butt dial or a bad line, and hang up, heading back to finish off my pie. No sooner am I sat down again, the phone rings again. I was kind of expecting it, I suppose. Maybe the parents had gone through a tunnel or something. I don't know, but either way, I get up again, head over to the phone and pick it up. Only this time when I do, I can hear breathing on the other end of the line. I give another cheery hello, but there's just the same breathing coming from the other end. When the person finally speaks, it's a super deep voice, obviously a guy, telling me to check on the sleeping kid. I thought it might have been the kid's dad, but there was also something really weird and distorted about the voice too. I responded like, "Okay, I'll go check." And the line goes dead immediately. The kid is fine, sleeping like a rock, so much as I'm kind of creeped out by the weird voice. I figured it must have been the dad. Maybe the parents had argued, I don't know. I try not to think so much about it. But then pretty much as soon as I'm back downstairs, the phone rings again. No caller ID, no nothing. So I answer, unable to prevent this fear from entering my voice. Big mistake. Whoever is calling senses this and starts to giggle down the phone line in that same weirdly distorted voice. What they said next made my blood turn to ice. "Gonna snatch him up. Gonna snatch up the kitty when you're not looking. Gonna get him." I went silent. Totally silent out of fear. And that's when I heard a creak in the floorboards above me. Someone was moving around in the room upstairs. I pretty much dropped the phone and bowled upstairs and into the kid's room to find that he's still asleep. Or rather that he very much appears to be asleep. But that same deep, slow breathing isn't there. The more I look, the more it seems like he's almost holding his breath or something. Not only that, but his arm is at this weird angle that makes it look like he's holding on to something under his pillow, something he's trying to hide. In a fury, I pull the pillow up slightly, then I realize what's been happening. Whoever thought it was a good idea to buy an 8-year-old kid a phone is straight up crazy. But under that pillow wasn't just a phone. There was a voice distorter under there too. I grab both and run out of the room, back downstairs where the kid starts throwing another temper tantrum. I felt so dumb, completely played by the kid, made to feel terrible and vulnerable. How could someone be so young, yet so malicious and mean-spirited? The parents arrived back shortly afterwards, and I didn't mention a word of what happened until they paid me in full. Then I read them the riot act. I was never going to babysit for them, and they were completely irresponsible letting their kid have the things like a phone, let alone an actual voice distorter. Turns out the creepy little gadget was their older college-age kids, and that the little guy was fascinated with it and wouldn't give it back to him. But I didn't care. I wasn't about to put myself out there like that. Ever. Again. Hey friends, thanks for listening. Be sure to subscribe and click that notification bell to be alerted of all future narrations. If you got a story, be sure to submit them to my subreddit, r/Let's Read Official, and give and receive feedback from the community, and maybe even hear your story featured on the next video. And join my Discord to interact with me and other listeners directly. And if you want to support me even more, grab early access to all future narrations for just $1 a month on Patreon, and maybe even pick up some Let's Read merch on Spreadshirt. And check out the Let's Read podcast, where you can hear all these stories in long compilation form and save huge on data, located anywhere you listen to podcasts. Links in the bio. Thanks so much, friends. And remember, I kind of forgot what I was supposed to remember.